Sparking Zero has a huge player retention problem. We could see this well with the game losing 90% of its players a month after release and then gaining only 10% of them back with the pre-order release of DLC 1 featuring characters from Dragon Ball Super, Superhero only. This did save the game from its current player count, which was actually slightly less than 3% though. However, there have been many complaints regarding the handling of this DLC, especially when it comes to offline content, and players are already quickly dropping back out of the DLC. So the things we're going to go over this video is 1. Why Sparking Zero has a player retention issue, and 2. How can we fix this lack of replayability through future contents, suggestions, updates, and even further handling of how they do DLC in, the most overhyped Dragon Ball game in a decade? Hello everyone, it's me, Steedoj here, back to more Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and I have come today to ask many questions about Sparking Zero, such as why has the DLC hype lasted less time than even the average Xenoverse 2 DLC? For the most hyped Dragon Ball game of all time, why did it get dropped so quickly after release, and even after new DLC releases? Like, it's many things that go into the issues with Sparking Zero, but it's mostly just the replay value. Even when it comes to the DLC, we just got the newest free update content for the DLC, and it's a raid battle system. And not only is this raid battle, super, simple, and, kind of just, hey, fight an enemy of escalating difficulty, and you have to use certain characters that give you a bonus, kind of like Dokkan Battle and stuff like that. But, that's literally it. It's just another offline, NPC 1v1 game mode, but also has zero social aspects. I want to point out why the reason why the raids actually work in the other two Dragon Ball games, yes, even you, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, is that raids in the other games are social. Now, raids in Xenoverse 2, it's not just you fighting 1v1ing like an ultra hard enemy with your character's custom stats the same way you use capsules in Sparking Zero, right? But then in Fighters' case as well, you get to, Fighters is way more personal too, because it's a small raid team you bring against, this raid boss, and it's escalating waves of, enemies. It's not just one single raid boss. You go through waves of different enemies. In a DBS Broly raid, they might start off with fighting, Bardock, or, Frieza, or Vegeta and Goku, until it eventually becomes Broly, because, Broly's the titular character of his movie. Again, social features just give a lot of replayability to games. The fun aspect of the small raid teams or the big raid teams of Xenoverse 2 and Fighters against one single enemy, that is, even if you don't even have to speak to the people you're fighting alongside with, it's just more fun to do things as a group in general. Hence why Free Idiots is so fun. Stuff like that. Even when it comes to stuff like Parallel Quests have way more they just have way more content in general than Sparking Zero custom missions, at least official custom missions, right? Because Parallel Quests have voice acting, they have all these unique scenarios of characters, stuff that Sparking Zero still doesn't give us, which is another reason why Xenoverse 2's DLC pricing seems a bit more reasonable than Sparking Zero's, because Xenoverse 2 actually it straight up it might have had more stuff. And since we're talking about Sparking Zero at its core, basically making it harder for the DLC, this is the most hyped Dragon Ball game of the decade. I need you guys to remember that. We had, 2014, I'm pretty sure we had Battle of Z and Xenoverse 1 by then. Xenoverse 2 was 2016 as well. This game has been super hyped, right? Definitely the Dragon Ball game that's the most hyped, and the one objective with the most effort put into it, despite the fact that people aren't playing it for long. And it is kind of painful that it's the most hyped Dragon Ball game of all time, and there's just, just nothing for it. There's no fanfare or love for it the moment it released. I'm sure you guys remember when IGN was Sparking Zero is a 7 out of 10 game, actually, and that made everybody upset, but now everyone has kind of agreed, yeah, it does feel like a 7. I think one of the best examples of this is that when the game came out, we saw the sales figures for the game. They were oh my god, 3 million copies in one day, that's amazing, and then we got no more updates from that point forward. Now again, the company doesn't have to give us updates, we don't need to know. But you'd think it'd be, it'd be good PR to show how many people are buying this game still. You have to assume that sales slowed down a lot after, the game spread through word of mouth more and people were like, hey, it's not really the best. It's, fun, but they could definitely do better, I imagine. So that's probably another thing that's making things harder for the Sparking Zero dev team and for Sparking Zero in general to just survive as a game. I think another thing that makes Sparking Zero very hard to survive as a game is, and this is one of probably the best points I'm going to make in this video, Sparking Zero is not what I would consider a relaxation game. Sparking Zero has many issues to begin with that push people further and further away from the game and make them play something else right, but it's not even a relaxation game. A good example is that there are many games that you guys probably think of that you go to right away when you're like, man, I just want to play something that's fun. I just want to have a good time and just relax, right? Maybe for some people it's Animal Crossing, for some people it could be Doom. For other people it could even be Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is my relaxation game. Even though I play it ranked, I still find ranked on Marvel Rivals like infinitely more enjoyable than anything else in Sparking Zero. And ranked, it would be like a sweat fest where your teammates like drag you down. I see you going 0-7 Spider-Man. I'm not going to forgive that. I'm not going to let that slide. But that will never make me more upset than just doing any regular match in Sparking Zero. It's not even about the 1v1 competitiveness of Sparking Zero, because these are people you pair up with once and then you never see them ever again, right? Because I played Fighters, I played Xenoverse 2. Those games also, I mean, I wouldn't consider Xenoverse 2 a relaxation game at all. But I feel like Xenoverse 2 is like sharing the same wavelength as Sparking Zero for, hey, this game's annoying to play online and it doesn't make me feel good. Like, I don't play Sparking Zero for fun. I actually do just like play it for like content for the most part, or if I just want to play like a Dragon Ball character. Because, like, where else can I play as, like, I don't know, Goku that turned Super Saiyan God, then Super Saiyan Blue? Can't do that in Xenoverse, can't do that in Fighters. Sparking Zero is my game for that. That's, like, the only reason I would turn the game on. To play a certain character that I can't play anywhere else, or just for, like, content creation. Because if I want to play a game for fun, again, I'll just play Marvel Rivals. In fact, I think I'll just show my Steam times for both games. Keep in mind, Sparking Zero came out before Marvel Rivals, and I was also sweating the game out like crazy when it came out for content, and I still ended up having way more hours in Marvel Rivals because that's just the one I play for fun. You know, this is the one I enjoy. It also helps that Sparking Zero lost like 90% of its players in a month. Marvel Rivals kept 90% of its players in a month. So even if you were just the kind of person who only plays with their friends, there's a 90% chance all your friends dropped Sparking Zero, but there's a 90% chance all your friends are still playing Marvel Rivals. Another thing that makes it really hard for people to just want to stay on the game, since, again, it's not just only online things that keep the game alive, right, is that Sparking Zero's offline features of the game, they're just not enough, I think. They're genuinely just not enough to bring enjoyment in. Like, the single-player stuff is, like, really, like, shallow. And I know, it's like, oh, but, like, it's Dragon Ball single player. All they're going to do is a story mode and a few offline battle modes and a tournament mode. But, like, the tournament mode in Sparking Zero, like, even with the fact that you could customize tournaments, it's kind of just buns compared to the one in Tenkaichi 3. And trust me, we'll get to the full-on Tenkaichi 3 comparisons later on in the video. But, like, the tournament modes, like, aren't really the best. Story mode isn't really the best. The lack of customization as well, like they still have less customization than Tenkaichi series. The Potara in the game, or sorry, the capsules in this game have... They have way less unique variety when it comes to abilities and stats and skills with the capsules in this game than they do with the Potara in the Tenkaichi series. Like, you put in a capsule in Sparking Zero to increase basic attack damage, like rush melee damage. Like, capsules that increase melee damage don't feel anywhere nearly as impactful as Potara that increased melee damage. And Potara in general just had way more effects as well as visual changes for characters. So, like, yeah. Again, we'll compare this game more to Tenkaichi 3 later. But, like, the single player for this game does not compare to Tenkaichi 3's. Another thing that really hurts the single player is that the AI definitely is nowhere near as impressive as it is in the Tenkaichi series. Tenkaichi AI, whether you turn them higher or lower, they were on drugs. But Sparking Zero AI at max difficulty feels so dumb sometimes. It really is just mass inconsistency. For sometimes the AI feels like they almost reach Tenkaichi level, and then sometimes even when the AI difficulty is set to 20, they feel completely brainless and just let the player just beat them up, and they don't even do anything interesting. They're not fun. They don't do cool combos. You know, AI used to aura farm in Tenkaichi. Now they're just kind of like boring as hell. Man, it's kind of rough. It's kind of rough. So Sparking Zero's offline, I don't think is even more... It's not even more exciting than Tenkaichi's, which makes it hard for people to, you know, stay on the ship. Like, oh man, OG Tenkaichi 3 still had Mission 100, and yeah, we don't have that anymore to replace the custom battle mode, but we still had the Android 18 dating stuff. Again, tournaments were better. I mean, I've said all this before, I don't need to say it again, but Sparking Zero, I feel like Sparking Zero doesn't even need a lot to really get stuff like that back in the game. Sparking Zero is, again, I don't feel like I need to say this 100 million times, but Sparking Zero is still a fun game. I still think it is a genuine 7 out of 10. The thing that's making it miss those 3 points are just things like lack of replayability. It's pretty much just it. I hate to use YouTube as an example because, you know, being a YouTuber makes it sound like as if I'm complaining, like, exclusively for my own sake. But even when you compare, like, Sparking Zero things from, like, other YouTubers, like, I don't know, Rhymestyle, Siriax, Dotodoya, you think for, like, the newest Dragon Ball game that's, like, come out after, like, many, like, years being in development and all the hype and all that stuff like that. Even the fact that the Three Idiots, the Three Musketeers, right, they've been playing Tenkaichi stuff recently as well. So people on their channel would be especially hyped to see Sparking Zero stuff. It's like it comes out and it's like no one's even really trying to make Sparking Zero videos like that. I'm not going to say that... I feel like the game does have less video potential than even Xenoverse 2. Xenoverse 2 lets you do goofy stuff with all the moves. Like, hey, when a new DLC comes out, I can put the new moves on my custom characters and I can show them off on my custom characters. characters and how they work on original characters. You know, Xenoverse, unironically, probably had more variety when it came to character movesets, which is hilarious because a lot of the movesets in Xenoverse 2 are reused. So I think that's extremely funny to like think about and talk about. But yeah, like even even compared to the Budokai games, Sparking Zero, it's like it just doesn't. I'm not going to say it doesn't compete with the Budokai games, because that's just, you know, not right. But, like, there's a reason why Budokai Tenkaichi 4 and Sparking Zero are two different game names. Because Budokai Tenkaichi 4, the mod actually is, like, a true follow-up to everything that was in Tenkaichi 3, mostly because it's built off of Tenkaichi 3. But then Sparking Zero feels like a very different game, and it shows with the fact that Rhymestyle even went straight back to Budokai Tenkaichi 4. In one of his more recent videos, even after Sparking Zero had, like, a new patch. So, that's kind of upsetty spaghetti. Another thing I think that holds back Sparking Zero quite a bit, and this is more like so complaining for the sake of the masses rather than as a YouTuber now, is I think the defensive play in Sparking Zero can be like a major issue that people have with the game. Comparing it against the Xenoverse 2 or to the Tenkaichi series, where, you know, timing your dodges for attacks are way easier before these characters got these insane ADHD animations that they all have, like, or like they're hyper quick now and stuff like that. Like every character in Sparking Zero attacks like their Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan. It's like actually crazy. But yeah, in Xenoverse 2, you'd have evasive skills. So even if you couldn't like avoid all forms of damage, at least when you got hit, you knew you could spend the resource to like get yourself out of danger for free. And a lot of the better characters in Sparking Zero do actually have stuff like explosive waves, wild sense, after image, and after image strike. Those are the characters you see used all the time, because relying on super counters in Sparking Zero is really annoying, because super counters have a mix of like how fast is the enemy punching you, plus how much is the game lagging, depending on if you get this timed mechanic to work or not. And when you're a new player, or like you're not the most experienced player ever, you'll turn on Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, you know, you'll go through a few matches, you'll notice that anytime you get hit once, you can't avoid any of the damage, and then you'll go, okay, so my two options are I either learn how to, you know, get up around this with like super counts and stuff like that, or I just drop the game and just play something that's way more fun and way more rewarding. And I think most people, as you can tell from the game's player retention, did just drop the game. A lot of people probably still don't know how to do super counters in the game. Hell, people who play the game religiously don't know how to do super counters. The defensive mechanics for Sparking Zero, they just ask a lot from the player, which is why you just see people default to the easy mode stuff like Wild Sense, Explosive Wave, etc. Or maybe I'm not saying bring the stamina bar back, because I don't want Sparking Zero to inadvertently be Xenoverse 3. But if I had a more consistent defensive mechanic, I feel like less people would play the game, get bullied, and go, wow, okay, and then leave the game forever. Like, if they had a consistent defense mechanism, they would go, okay, I can do that whenever the guy hits me. I just need to figure out how I can hit the enemy more, because I'm struggling with how I can hit my enemy more. I'm no longer struggling with defending myself, because, you know, I've got my movement down, I've got my blocks down, and when a guy hits me, if I've got enough resources built up, I can use my escape maneuver, right? Again, maybe turning the game to Xenoverse isn't such a good idea, because I've said this countless times, Xenoverse is frowned upon for the very obvious reason that's just not exactly the most fun game to play. So this might not be the right direction for Sparking Zero, but I feel like Sparking Zero just has a huge player retention problem, right? There's not a lot to do single player, there's not a lot of capsules to even spice up the variety of the offline content in the game. The tournament mode isn't that crazy, you know, the story mode isn't that crazy. Custom battles, a lot of them are pretty lackluster. People haven't really got their creative juices flowing with custom battles yet, you know. And then when you go online, it's like, okay, well, you're gonna find OP character, and you have an inconsistent defense mechanic to try and beat people who already know how to do rolling hammer. So yeah, that's kind of rough. And honestly, I think that's a perfect place to end the video, guys. Do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, let me know what you guys think about the Sparking Zero situation overall. Let me know if you made it this far into the video, how many hours do you have in Sparking Zero? Because that's very interesting, right? How many hours do you have in the game? And do you want to have more hours in the game, or is it just, you know, I've had my fill of Sparking Zero, I'll just wait till the next patch or content update or DLC, right? Let me know about all that stuff, and I think that's a good place to end the video. Again, don't forget to leave a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe, as it greatly supports the channel, and leave a comment down below as to what you'd like to see next. I do love you all. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you fellas all next time. Take care, and peace.